Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. South African politics never disappoints when it comes to drama, confusion, and finger-pointing. If you thought the soapies on TV were entertaining, then trust me, you haven't seen anything until you've followed the daily back and forth between our political parties. Today, we are diving into a story that had the whole country shaking their heads, the economic freedom fighters versus Operation Dudula, a case that was promised, hyped, and publicized, but, well, never actually materialized. The EFF had loudly claimed that they had opened a criminal case against Operation Dudula and its president, Zandile Dabula. According to the fighters, this was supposed to be about a shocking incident involving a child who had allegedly died because of the group's activities. Now, if that story were true, it would be one of the most serious allegations in recent memory. But here's the twist: when the police asked for evidence, none could be produced. No child's body. No name. No physical address of the mother. Not even a case number. In fact, what we ended up with was not justice, but confusion, embarrassment, and once again, South Africa caught in the middle of political theater. Now, let's pause here. Imagine walking into a police station and saying, "I want to open a case, because I heard from someone, who heard from someone, that something bad happened." The police would look at you the same way they probably looked at the EFF members, with a mix of disbelief and irritation. Our justice system doesn't run on gossip, speculation, or political speeches at rallies. It runs on hard evidence, sworn statements, and facts that can hold up in court. And that is exactly what the EFF failed to deliver. What makes this story both tragic and hilarious is how it unfolded. The fighters publicly declared they had acted, hoping the announcement alone would be enough to put Dudula on the defensive. But when journalists started asking for proof, everything fell apart. It was like promising a blockbuster movie, only for the cinema to roll out a blank screen. The EFF said they had opened a case, but the police themselves confirmed that no such case could exist without evidence. And that's the point: the police cannot open a docket based on emotion, anger, or speculation. This raises some serious questions. Did the EFF exaggerate the story deliberately to paint Operation Dudula as villains in the eyes of the public? Or did they genuinely believe what they were saying, only to realize later that they couldn't back it up? Either way, the credibility damage is enormous. You cannot make claims about the death of a child and then walk away as if nothing happened when asked for proof. South Africans deserve honesty, not political theater. And of course, Zandile Dabula and Operation Dudula wasted no time in turning this around. Instead of defending themselves, they went on the offensive. Their supporters are now saying that Dudula should open a case of defamation against the EFF, calling them thugs who lied to the country and tried to use the courts as a weapon. If that happens, it could become one of the most ironic legal battles of our time, Dudula dragging the EFF to court, not the other way around. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. This isn't just about one claim or one failed case. It's about the way our politics has turned into a circus of accusations, counter-accusations, and stunts designed for headlines rather than real solutions. The EFF has built much of its brand on being the loud voice of accountability, calling out corruption, injustice, and abuse wherever it sees it. But moments like this chip away at that credibility. Because when you cry wolf without evidence, people stop listening, even when you might be telling the truth next time. At the same time, Operation Dudula is not exactly innocent in the court of public opinion. The movement has built its reputation on tough, controversial campaigns against undocumented immigrants and alleged criminal networks. To many South Africans, Dudula represents frustration with crime, drugs, and unemployment. But to others, the group embodies xenophobia, vigilantism, and mob justice. So when the EFF claimed that Dudula's actions had led to the death of a child, it sounded believable to many, at least at first. That's why the lack of evidence became such a scandal. Here's where the humor comes in. We live in a country where political rivals don't just debate policies, they trade accusations like school kids trading insults during break time. One week, it's, "You stole the money." The next, it's, "You lied about the child." And in between, the rest of us are trying to figure out whether the lights will stay on, whether the trains will run, and whether our politicians are capable of taking a break from the drama long enough to fix actual problems. But the reality is that these false starts and empty claims have serious consequences. They weaken public trust, they waste police resources, and they make it harder for real victims to be taken seriously. Think about it, if another mother now comes forward with a genuine tragedy linked to political or social conflict, will the public believe her? Or will people roll their eyes and say, "Here we go again"? That's the danger of playing politics with sensitive issues. The final question is, what happens next? Will Operation Dudula actually open a defamation case against the EFF? If they do, we could see a courtroom battle that forces the fighters to explain themselves under oath. That would be political theater at its finest, except this time, with consequences attached. Or will this story fade away like so many others, remembered only as another example of South Africa's political soap opera? Either way, it's a lesson for all of us about accountability. If you make a claim, back it up with evidence. If you don't, you risk turning your cause into a joke. And in a country facing as many crises as South Africa, from unemployment to crime to inequality, we cannot afford to waste time on empty stories and hollow accusations. So, what do you think? Should Dudula take the EFF to court for lying? Or should we chalk this up as yet another episode in the endless drama of South African politics? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss one of our deep dives into the madness of South African politics. We bring you the stories behind the headlines, with all the twists, turns, and yes, even the comedy that comes with them. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you next time.